I'm Andy Sjostrom, and my company is The Good Handyman, and I'm here to take care of some projects around the house to get this house ready for sale. One thing that we can do to make things easier for you as painting goes is to pull down existing light fixtures that are up. So the benefit of taking the light fixture down is that, one, it's going to be easier to paint. Two, you're going to have the opportunity to keep that fixture free from paint droplets, which is a kind of a drag cleaning those guys off. And three, you don't have to worry about taping it off. So there's a lot of benefits to that. And it's not something that you really have to be too worried about. What you need to do is, for starters, you could throw the breaker switch down and the panel that shuts the power off to that particular light. In this case, each of the individual breakers are labeled: second floor, laundry, basement north, heater, furnace, all these individual things here. And you can use those as reference points, but don't be absolutely sure about it. The best way to know for sure is to flip the breaker, go back upstairs and check to see if those lights are really out. So in this case, I'm going to do first floor because that's the most likely. Now the other thing you can do is just simply turn the light switch off. That cuts power to that location as well. So what I'll do is for starters, I'll shut the light off, and then I'll find the canopy fasteners. So in this case, little brass knobs on here that come off, probably relatively easily. And then once that comes off, we're going to disconnect the switch leg and the neutral that run to that light switch, and just simply take it all the way down. So I like to start by taking these glass fixtures off. There's nothing worse than taking a light fixture down and the glass fixture breaking, because you got to spend a ton of time. You're going to spend a ton of time trying to find a replacement for that glass fixture. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Be careful when you're untightening and tightening these set screws on glass canopies, because you don't want to crank down on them any more than they already are, because there's a chance that if you crank down it, it'll crack the fixture, it'll crack the glass. And of course, this is something that you could leave to your handyman. Knowing yourself in a situation like this, don't get yourself in over your head. If this is something that you're not comfortable doing, take the time to find a good handyman. What I always like to say is, a good handyman provides you peace of mind. Or wondering in the back of your head whether you rewired that fixture exactly right. It's going to keep you up night after night after night. But the great thing about hiring a good handyman, a licensed professional handyman, is that you know from their experience and their knowledge base that they're going to make the right decisions. We can work on these two set screws here that hold the canopy to the wall. And be careful on the pliers that you use, because a lot of these new fixtures, or even old ones, will have a nice finish on them that you don't want to mar with a big bulky set of pliers. Give them a little loosen just so that they loosen up. The light fixture was put on just after they painted. So this light fixture, even though the set screws are nice and loose, still has a little bit of tightness against the wall. And that's simply due to the fact that the paint has dried with that fixture in it. So what I like to do is just take a razor blade and skim around just nice and lightly all the way around the perimeter. Be careful. Don't go cutting off into the wall. And you'll even hear it starting to break away. If this fixture has dried in the paint, if you go and try and yank it off the wall without cutting around it, you're going to tear that paint right off the drywall. So another one of those situations where you just want to make yourself do a little bit of legwork ahead of time. One great thing to do when you're working over a sink, pull that plunger, because there's nothing worse than trying to fish a set screw out of the bottom of a drain. So here we've got a white and a black wire coming out of the wall. These are what are called wire nuts. They hold the wires from your fixture to the wires coming out of the wall, make the final connection. And I always recommend starting with the black and pulling the white, and the reason being that if you pull the black, replace the cap nut on there, you've isolated the fixture. If you pull this, if you start with the white, then your fixture is still potentially hot. So it usually just takes a few turns. Pull that clean. Twist the wire nut back on and go to the Sometimes it takes just a little bit of yanking and pulling. This is the kind of situation where if you opened up this box and you saw a lot of cloth covered wire, a lot of frayed wires, this would be number one, the point at which you call a handyman or an electrician. You don't want to get yourself into a situation where you're damaging existing wiring that's back there, creating a situation that's potentially dangerous or hazardous. So if you, at any point in this process, feel uncomfortable, just pull out, just back out. The number one rule is don't get anybody killed, don't burn your house down.